mutilated. I was gonna say it a few times, but I didn't.
I know, it's over.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Rob Farquharson. I
guess
am
I could
a recent graduate of the 5th grade. No, I just joke about that. I think it's important to address for two reasons. People have asked me, how old are you? Would you be the youngest district attorney in Kaufman County's history? The answer to that question is no. In fact, the honor for youngest district attorney, I lose by several years. Glenn Ashworth, who by all accounts was an excellent district attorney, he was younger than me when he was the district attorney here in Kaufman County. But the other reason is, what I'm trying to do here in Kaufman County is bring a fresh, conservative perspective to Kaufman County. I have no problem I have no personal issue with the incumbent in this race. I have no problem with somebody who has been in office for 20 years, but right now the district attorney's office is losing control of crime in Kaufman County. Over the past 8 years, there's any police agency that takes money from the state has to report crime. The Texas DPS, Uniform Crime Reporting, you can look it up online, there's a whole database. When you look at the cases in Kaufman County over the past 8 years, we have had a 267% increase in homicides. We've had a population increase of about 140 to 145%. At a firm by the name of Stinson, and even now, I defend and work for corporations that have been victimized by liberal prosecution policies that are sweeping our nation. And so the most important thing that we can do right now is we need a district attorney who is going to be a strong chain in the chain of justice. Because that chain doesn't just stop when a law enforcement officer makes an arrest. Once the law enforcement officer makes an arrest, the district attorney's job is to take that case, make sure that the arrest turns into justice. Make sure that arrest keeps our community safe. And that's why it's so important that we have a district attorney who is going to unapologetically support our police officers, and a district attorney who's going to make life as miserable as possible for the people that bring crime into Kaufman County. So that is what I want to do. But I also think that for that same reason, just why it's important for those points, that's also why people like George Soros are trying to buy district attorneys' offices across the nation. Now, I'm not saying that that's happening here in Kaufman County. I can tell you with 100% certainty, if I was ever offered $1 of George Soros' money, I could not reject it fast enough. I don't care if he tried to give me $20,000. But it is important, and we should always look at the people that are running for office. Look at who is giving them money. If you've got a mega donor involved in a race who's giving $20,000 or $30,000, who is that person? What's their interest in the race? And you just have to look at that because there's an interest in buying district attorneys' races. And you got to know, where is the money coming from? So I'll kind of wrap up with just encouraging everybody here. I want to encourage you all to get involved. I'm glad you're here, but we need you involved. We need boots on the ground. We need people pounding pavement. We have got to fight. We are losing our nation right now. We are losing our nation, and the fight starts at the local level. Right now, we are losing Kaufman County to crime. We need each and every one of you to pound the pavement, knock doors, make phone calls, get out there, put signs in your yard, and fight. Because the fight is here, the fight is in Kaufman County, and you guys are the ones that are going to win that fight for us. So I'll be here and would love to take questions. I don't know if you want to do that later.
I got you for about 5 to 10 minutes, and you got about 5 more minutes. So if you can take questions for 5 minutes.
Cool. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever tried a felony trial in front of a jury?
I have handled felony cases. I've handled.
But have you ever tried a case in front of a jury, a felony trial?
Yes, I have. Well, I have not tried a felony jury trial. I have handled felony cases. I've handled domestic violence cases that had felonies. I have sentenced people for felony crimes. So those skills are very transferable. But one of the most important things in a district attorney's race, and the district attorney's job, is to be the conscience of the community. That is where we are off base in Kaufman County. The trials, so, I mean, I've won domestic violence trials where I had a victim come in and testify that she was lying and say, you know, I didn't do it. We put an expert on the stand who says, that's the cycle of violence. That's exactly what it is. Those skills are transferable into the felony realm. But what the district attorney's job, you can hire excellent, experienced prosecutors, just like in Kaufman County right now. The most experienced prosecutor is not the district attorney. And I'll tell you, by years as a lawyer, I lose the race, okay? And that's fine. But I don't think that's what people want. What people want is a district attorney who's going to be tough on crime and understands the conscience of the community. What over the past 8 years, drug dealing cases, for example, these cases, this statistic is available on the Office of Court Administration in Texas. In Kaufman County, over the past 8 years, we have dismissed 15% of our drug dealing cases. 15%. Dallas County has dismissed 8%. We have doubled the dismissal rate of Dallas County for drug dealing. Okay? That is, we are out of touch with the conscience of the community. And it doesn't take years of being a lawyer to understand the conscience of the community. That's what needs to change. Any other questions?
Rob, are you aware of the point that Jason brought up about the Attorney General being taken?
Yes.
Are you aware of that?
I am.
Can you tell the group kind of what's going on there?
So what the Court of Criminal Appeals said is basically what Jason said, and that is that the election integrity is the job of the district attorney. Now, district attorneys can invite the Attorney General in to help prosecute those cases. In Kaufman County, we would welcome the Attorney General to join us. But that's another really important point. In 2018, we had a judicial race that was, a judge found so much voter fraud that the judge ordered an entirely new election. You guys probably remember this, Tracy Gray versus Dennis Jones. Nobody was prosecuted in that case. A judge ordered an entirely new election. We had to redo an election. There was enough evidence to redo an election. Nobody was prosecuted. And this isn't new. District attorneys have always been able to prosecute election integrity cases. So we need to ask, why was that not done?
One of the key points in that is that Court of Appeals that turned over the election integrity to the DAs and took it away from Ken Paxton were all Republicans.
Yeah.
All Republicans. 8 Republicans voted against Ken Paxton and election integrity.
It was like 2 or 3 decades at
And
present.
election integrity.
Yeah.
We need to move those judges out of here.
Yep.
Any other questions?
You have signs and your website?
Yes, I do have signs in the back. I've got flyers back there. The little stands are on the ground. If you need help putting it together, I ran out of time. Yes, sir.
The current DA, is he the same DA that was here in Kaufman County at the time they had to do the re-election and no one was convicted?
It is the same district attorney. It's a woman. But it's the same district attorney. Yes.
That's good.
All right, well, I'll be here afterwards. Thank you guys for giving me some time. I appreciate you guys all being out today. I mean it. You are important. We need you to fight.
You know you're going to need it with me.
I'm certainly for 10 minutes.
First of all, I'm not opposing anybody. Several conservatives in the county asked me to run, and after praying about it and deliberating, I decided to do it. I'm the pastor at Trinity Family Church. I'm always encouraging my people to get involved. Most churches avoid politics. They don't want to offend anybody. But I think the church has got to be involved. I think the reason we're in the position we're in today is because the church is not as involved in politics as it needs to be.
Amen.
Right.
We're supposed to be the salt and light. We're supposed to be encouraging and teaching people and affecting the culture in which we live. And so when I had that many people ask me to run, I could not say no. I don't need another job. But, in America, we're in trouble. And not just in America, but in Texas. I don't know, probably 20 years ago, I started paying a lot more attention to politics. I remember even as a kid, and this is from I loved American history, and so knowing American history as a kid, I couldn't wait to turn 18 so I could do my civic responsibility and my biblical responsibility and vote. And so I voted in every presidential election since I was 18. But in the beginning, I would probably just vote for presidential elections. And then I started getting more involved, and actually me and my wife would go to Austin and speak on bills or speak against bills, whatever the case may be, and we met a lot of great people by doing that. But the more you do that, the more you learn about how government works, and you see a lot of things. And so one of the things I've said is that when you step into the Capitol in Austin, it is just as big a swamp as Washington, D.C. is. It's not as heavily publicized, but it is still a big swamp. And the only people that can change that are strong, righteous people. The Bible says when the righteous rule, the people rejoice, and when evil rules, the people mourn. And so we're seeing that not only in our country, but we're also seeing it in our state, and we're also seeing it in our county. And so one of the reasons why I'm running and why I want to ask for your vote, I think we need somebody leading the Republican Party in Kaufman County that will affect it in a positive way and fight for our conservative family values. There's an attack in the country against our conservative family values. There's an attack in the state, and there's an attack in our county. And so we need to make a difference, and we make a difference by putting the right people in place. I always say the most important election every year is the primary. It's not in November, because if you don't get the right person in the primary, you cannot get the right person in November. And so we've got to be more involved. I echo what Rob said. I'm so glad you're here. I mean, the fact that you're here tells me you care. You either care or you're here to get reelected. But you're active. You're being a part of the process. And so we need to multiply these numbers. The next time we meet, this room should not be big enough to hold everybody. We should be looking for a bigger place. Because we've got to be involved, and we all have to make a difference. So many people think, what can I do? I'm just one person. Listen, everybody can do something, and if everybody does their part, we change the course of our state. One of the things I've said for years is we've got to save Texas. If Texas is the key to the nation. As goes Texas, so goes the nation. If we lose Texas, we're going to lose the country. The only chance we have of saving America is saving Texas first, and let Texas lead and be the conservative bastion that everybody thinks outside of Texas we are. I want to be that. I want to be what the outside of Texas perception is. And so I think with my experience, I want to use the famous Ronald Reagan line, I won't hold my opponent's youth and inexperience against him. In 2020, I served on the Legislative Priority Committee. That was a great honor. I really enjoyed that. And so, every year it seems like God opens up more and more doors for me to feel something and be a part and make a difference in whatever it is. I went to the county convention in 2020. I even got to go to the state convention. That's how I got by being the Legislative Priority Committee. That's a big honor. There's only 31 people in the state of Texas that get to be a part of that. And it's one from each Senate district. So to be chosen by the county to be the representative on that committee was a big honor. And I was so impressed with all 31 people that were down there. We were all like-minded. I had heard rumors about state conventions, and I was expecting it to be very chaotic and a mess. Our committee was not. We didn't even have any real debates except on abortion. And the debate on abortion was, do we want to abolish abortion or do we want to keep doing incrementalism? And at the end of the day, abolish abortion won. We cannot expect God to bless our nation or our county if we are going to violate his biblical principles.
Amen.
And so abortion is a stain on our country, it's a stain on our state, and I'm not going to rest until we abolish abortion in the state of Texas.
Preaching.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
I don't know how much time I got left, but I'll take any questions you might have for me. Y'all wore Rob out. Well, anyway, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to serving you as your next Kaufman County Republican chair.
You finished in like 6 minutes. You didn't even use all 10 minutes.
Marty, do you have signs?
I did that for your benefit.
Do you have signs for you?
Not yet. I'm working on it. I'll
Do
need
you
a
have a
lot of help, by the way, when I get there.
Do you have a website yet?
Well, I have a Facebook page, Marty Reid for Kaufman County Chair, Republican Chair.
All right. Okay, so we got the commissioner for Precinct 4, Ken Cates, you want to come up here and speak? How long have you been Commissioner?
3 years. 3 long. Well, my wife and I are discussing. Thanks for having me, Jason. For those of you that don't know me, my name's, it's right here on my shirt. My name's Ken Cates. I'm the Kaufman County Precinct 4 Commissioner. I got elected 3 years ago in 2019. A little bit about me for those of you that don't know. I'm a career law enforcement guy, so I certainly, a lot of Rob's comments resonate with me. I'm certainly try to be attuned and certainly interested in crime and many other related factors that are real challenges in our county right now. I was a 34-year special agent. I retired as what's called the special agent in charge for the Department of Homeland Security for most of the central United States. So I've been I was a gun toter for a long time. I'm specifically trained as a financial investigator, so I'm a budget guy. I'm all about numbers. The one thing I say constantly is numbers don't lie. It's impossible for really math doesn't lie. And that's inconvenient sometimes because the truth sometimes is hard to hear. But the truth is still the truth. So let me just tell you a little bit about being a county commissioner, because it is more and less than I ever had any idea when I ran for this office. Today's county commissioner is truly an administrative job. It is really an administrative position. It's all about the finances of the county and certainly about the finances of the precinct. The county commissioner in our county is a unique situation because you serve both as an at-large commissioner for the entire county, but you also have specific, what we refer to as department head responsibilities for road and bridge operations in your specific precinct. So it's kind of a duplicate function that you have. But nonetheless, you really have a lot of influence, if you will, in the direction that your county takes place and goes in. We, I guess, to a certain extent, because as is the form of government that we have in the United States, we control the purse strings. So we're involved every day with what the sheriff's office is able to accomplish, what the district attorney's office is able to accomplish, what our constables are able to do, as well as all the other myriad of services that Kaufman County and all the counties provide. Lots of people in Texas hardly ever have any occasion to think about the services that really do flow from the county. Most of which, by the way, are mandatory. They're statutorily required by the state of Texas. So much of our budget, which in this county is, depending on how you add up the money, but when you include bond fundings and things like that, we're a $150 to $170 million a year organization in Kaufman County. So it's a pretty big challenge. And under the state constitution, the county commissioners court is responsible to evaluate and approve every penny, every individual penny. So every bill that gets paid, every gallon of gas that the county buys, the county commissioners are responsible for overseeing that that's done properly and that it's properly funded. We are statistically, we're the third fastest growing county in the nation, and certainly in the state of Texas. And that's all really empirically documented. As I said, I'm a numbers guy, so we have a population explosion. Particularly you guys that live around here in Florida, you see it every day, and it creates huge challenges for not only the residents but also for the cities and for the county. So it's incredibly important that the administrative side of our house stay pristine and be really above reproach. It is an administrator's job. That's my precinct, which is, if you're not familiar, is the largest precinct in Kaufman County. It's over a third of this county. It's predominantly rural.
It's all the southern part of the county, starts all the way down in Maybank, comes right up underneath Kaufman, goes all the way to Crandall, turns the corner, comes up the county line all the way to I-20. So it's a huge county, predominantly rural. It has a different complexity and complexion than many of the other counties, because in my precinct, many residents actually, they depend on county roads to be able to have effective transportation. So in order to get to state roads and city roads and state highways, our county roads are really important. And frankly, they've been neglected in my precinct for over 30 years. I'll be fairly blunt with you. Until I took office, Kaufman County essentially quartered up what's called the Road and Bridge Fund. So there's a dedicated tax fund. If you look on your tax bill, you'll see it. That's the only money that goes to precinct roads and bridges. So until I took office, frankly, the county essentially just quartered that money up amongst the 4 precincts. And it was a pretty big battle for a couple of years when I first took office, because frankly, Precinct 2 here in Forney had about 50 miles of road, maybe 55. I had over 300 when I took office. But they essentially got the same money, within 100,000 or so that I did. So we had some very spirited debates, and I offered some alternatives that the Commissioners Court did not embrace, and ultimately we were able to come to a negotiated settlement. So now, instead of getting 25%, I get about 36% of the road and bridge money in this county, and it's still not enough. My precinct, Precinct 4, I had an objective and empirical study done of the roads. And so that study got completed in 2020, and at that time, Precinct 4 needed $26 million of road and bridge money. $26 million. The day I took office in 2019, my annual budget was $1 million for 300 miles. 283 separate roads. Now today, my annual budget is about $2 million. So it's a 100% gain, and certainly moving in the right direction, but still not realistic. And that brought us to a couple of county bond initiatives. One was a facilities bond, and one was a county road bond. And I supported them both heavily because I did the research. Both were absolutely needed. They were critical for the future of this county, particularly the county road bond. So that's going to be a great benefit to my precinct. We're going to end up with about $13 million, which is about half of what we need. That money doesn't come out all at one time. It comes out as the projects develop. You don't want to borrow bond money and pay interest on it before you can actually spend it. And so over the next 5 years, we will invest about $13 million in Precinct 4. Again, it's only about half, but we've also sort of cracked the code. For the first time ever, we've been able to gain 2 major state funding grants that the precinct had never even applied for before. So the real job of the county commissioner is to find the resources that it needs, both for your precinct's roads and bridges, as well as what the county needs.
Go after the CRT money.
So there's still a couple of pots of those kind of money. The difficulty in federal money is it all comes with strings, and you have to be very careful on how you spend that money, because if you spend it improperly, you'll be required to reimburse the federal government. That's happened in our county and a couple of the cities. And the further difficulty is that there was this mad rush to send this money out, and for the federal government to tell you that we're putting out all this American Recovery Act money, but they didn't, they had the cart before the horse, and they didn't really tell us, they didn't really develop what some of the parameters and what some of the strings and limitations were. So we're actually still working through some of that. But we actually, we're focused, your Commissioner's Court, I can tell you, is pretty focused on that money. We have some real needs in this county, a lot of which you may or may not know about. Our county is in desperate need, for instance, of a juvenile detention facility. If we were to really tell you the situation with juvenile crime and our ability to address it effectively in this county, right now, you'd be worried. We must have a juvenile detention facility, we must have it pretty soon. And that's an easy thing to sort of say, but when you start talking about facilities, in that instance, we're probably talking about a $26 million investment, $26 million. And so that's why some of that ARA money and federal dollars, we're hoping we'll be able to wordsmith those and use them appropriately. As you probably already know, we're also right now in the process of building a new county justice center, really a criminal courts building. Our county courthouse was built in 1951. It's busting at the seams, it's antiquated, it's very unsafe. We've had a number of prisoner issues. It's very inefficient because we don't have modern technology that's really fully employed there. And so we have a state-of-the-art criminal courts building that's going to be up and running here in about 14 to 18 months. It's going to dramatically improve our court system. It's going to be a money saver as well. We spend over $200,000 a year or so just transporting prisoners back and forth from the county jail to the courthouse and back. So, and again, I'm just speaking in round numbers, but that's the kind of investment that this county has to make. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Am I about done?
About a minute.
Okay. Let me just say this one last thing. When it comes to my precinct, I really focus on resources. That's the only answer. You got to have the money or you can't do it. It's been an additional challenge with COVID. We've had a 30% vacancy rate for 14 months. We haven't been able to buy rock or culverts. This economy has really impacted everything. You know, not only how much food's on the shelf, but whether or not I can get a culvert to put in your driveway. So there's some challenges. But it's also genuinely impacted this county, and yet we move forward. Right now, today, Kaufman County has over 5,000 platted and approved new rooftops. Crandall is about to explode just like Forney has. And we must have a 5-year strategic plan. Our county still operates kind of on a 1950s, 1960s sort of cycle, where we run this county from year to year to year, and that's we will lose ground. We must have a minimum of a 5-year strategic visioning. That's the kind of administrator I am. I do hope to get reelected, but and I guess I am in politics, but I'm not much of a politician. I'm really an administrator. I'm about getting things accomplished. That's why I'm running for reelection, and there's no question in my mind that we can make this an even better place to live than it is now. Thank you very much.
You want to have a couple questions? Anybody have a couple questions before he sits down?
I'll be around. I'm on Facebook. You can call my office. I'm happy to give you my cell phone. I got business cards here. They have my cell phone on. You can call me any hour of the day or night. Ask my wife. My phone goes off all the time. Thank you, man.
You got Tommy Moore.
Okay.
Tommy
We
Moore.
got Tim. You got Tim. His brother looks just like him.
He's an imposter.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. I appreciate you guys letting me come out tonight and introduce myself, especially when you're running. I'm a beginning politician, that's what everybody keeps telling me. But my goal when I drove home from work one day was to make a decision for me. So just to give you a little background real quick, graduated from Scurry. I'm originally from Scurry. Graduated in '92, went to the Marine Corps. Served in the Marine Corps 4 years as a helicopter mechanic. Once I got out of the Marine Corps, worked on fire trucks for a while. Some of you may know if you're from down the Kaufman area, Jim Faulkner had that place just outside of Kaufman on 175. So I started there. Then I had a bad influence in my life here. I was just picking at Tim here. He was a deputy sheriff. Of course, they had the ride-out program, and I was riding with him. And then I spent the last 24 years in law enforcement myself. I worked at Crandall PD from '98 to '01, and then I went to the Mesquite Police Department, where I'm currently at right now, as a auto theft investigator for the police department. So I was planning on retiring January 2024. I decided the Lord opened this door for me. And I said, you know what? I'm still too young to do it, not do anything, but I want to serve the community. That's just, I believe police work is a calling. I don't think it's a job. And it's just, I've spent my whole life just wanting to serve the community and love people. So somebody asked me the other day, what's your platform? And I said, servant leadership. And because I want to listen to the people. You got to love people more than yourself. And when I was driving home, I'm going back to what I started with. I was driving home from work and I said, Lord, I want you walking with me through this campaign, if it's your will that I get this, then I want you walking beside me the whole time. And I've had a few people say, that's not going to make people not gripe at you, right? They're still going to call. And I said, it's not for them, it's for me, okay? It's how I respond to that. And that's the ministry in me. So anyway, I do want to ask everybody for your support, if you're down that way. I do want to do the best job I can. I've been known, I guess my dad was a Navy. I was in the Marine Corps, my dad was Navy. Okay, so you can see where we had a lot of fun with each other on the two services. But my dad, one thing I learned about the Navy, is there any sailors in there? No sailors? One thing the Navy does that's been still my dad was always he always said it, jack of all trades, master at none. Okay, growing up, we did everything ourselves. We didn't, and that's what he taught us to do, to be a problem solver. So that's just, I don't know, I guess it's instilled in myself, my brothers, and that's what we want to do. So if elected to this position, I'm going to take that as a challenge to do what I can with what we have to solve any issues or concerns that the citizens have, and to do the best job I can for you. So, and I appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
You need to say your name.
I'm Tommy Moore.
Say it right again.
Let me interpret that for you. Let me interpret that for you. His name is Tommy Moore.
Yeah, Tommy Moore. So like I said, I do appreciate you guys letting me come out tonight and speak with you. Guess what?
What office are you running for?
County Commissioner to Precinct 4. I'm running, and Mr. Kate's back there, we're running for the same. So, sorry, I jumped ahead of that, didn't I? But anyway, yes, I'm running for the County Commissioner Precinct 4. And I think there's like 3 of us in it. So.
Yeah, David Archer, I didn't have a way to contact him. Lori, did you have a contact for him?
Yeah, who's gonna try to make it, but apparently did.
Okay. So, anyway, I'd like to, like I said, ask everybody for the support. If you have any questions, anybody have any questions they'd like to ask?
Anybody here live, how many of y'all live out here? I know Valerie lives out there.
Yes, Valerie lives,
Yeah, y'all live out there too.
yeah, so we got a few people in there for the precinct.
I have a sign in my yard.
Plus I'll put this on our Facebook page, so
Okay.
that way.
Like I said, I appreciate your time and thank you guys for letting me come out and speak with you and meet you, put a face with a name, so.
Thank you for stepping up.
Yeah.